In light of recent protests going on across university campuses in response to last week's election results, one lawmaker is taking action against state colleges using taxpayer money to fund grief counseling and cry-ins for students. One America's Rachel Ribaudo has more on the It Up Buttercup bill.
Universities across the country are seeing outbreaks of violent protests from students angry over the election results. But instead of putting a stop to these riots, colleges are enabling students by cutting classes, canceling exams, holding cry-ins, and bringing in therapy dogs to help them cope. Now one Iowa lawmaker is fighting back, saying he has had it with universities coddling and sheltering grown adults from the real world. Chairman of Iowa's House Oversight Committee, Bobby Kaufman, is proposing the It Up Buttercup bill to block state funding from Iowa colleges using taxpayer money to pay for these, quote, safe places.
The bill was inspired by what I saw across the nation, where I saw schools with rising, skyrocketing tuition costs were also finding new monies and expenditures for things such as cry rooms. I was hearing reports of rooms where you could play with Play-Doh and you could color on books and talk about your feelings. And I was even hearing reports of some schools that were bringing in ponies to be able to get students through the election. And that also doesn't prepare kids for life, because in life there's winners and losers. And in life, when your car breaks down, your kids get sick, or you have to take a second job up to pay your mortgage, you don't get to go to a cry zone. You don't get to pet a pony. You have to deal with it.
The bill would only affect taxpayer-funded state universities and would not target existing therapy and mental health services offered on campuses. Kaufman says Iowa is not the only state where universities are taking advantage of rising tuition costs to spend on non-educational activities. In fact, the University of Michigan Law School canceled a recent event for law students suffering from post-election anxiety to engage in activities like bubble blowing and coloring after it received backlash on social media. The bill also establishes new criminal penalties for protesters who shut down highways, something Kaufman says puts the lives of other citizens at risk.
And you had these kids, you had people acting like spoiled brats, let's just call it what it is, blocking Interstate 80. And I have no problem with dissent. I have no problem with protesting. I encourage protesting. I encourage dissent. But you don't have a constitutional right to impede on the constitutional rights of others.
Kaufman hopes his proposed legislation will encourage other states to adopt similar policies. But in states like New York, where New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is calling for more disruption and protests, it is unlikely lawmakers there will hold universities responsible for wasting taxpayer dollars. Rachel Ribaudo, One America News.